this week we're talking about JoJo Siwa because she's all over the internet right now because she talked to Cosmo about planning ahead to be a mom. She's 21. She's like super young, but it's heavy on her mind. And if you don't know, she came out in 2021 as part of the LGBTQ community. She identifies as pansexual. So she says that she has to plan pregnancy different than a straight person would have to. So it's like really on her mind. And she said, quote, I actually want to take 3 eggs, fertilize 3 eggs, and have 3 surrogates. So technically they'll be the same batch, but they would all be born separately. And then she adds, I'm going to have my surrogates, my babies, then maybe little birthdays will land on different days and they can be like triplets, but not. So on her podcast, she's talked about one of the biggest things that she's looking for in a partner right now is someone who's ready to have kids and like be a parent. And she said that that's something she cares a whole lot about and that she's wanted to have children for a very long time. She says like she was literally 12 thinking about wanting to be a mom. And so now she's like really gravitating towards people who are a little bit older. I just want to know what you think about this. I'm also curious if you always felt like that, like at 21, were you thinking about that?
No, I don't think I was at all.
Yeah.
I want to be thoughtful with my words here because I like JoJo Siwa. I spent a lot of time interviewing JoJo Siwa in my day. This initially like made me really mad for some reason.
Hmm.
Not mad, like annoyed.
Say more.
So I don't know why I felt annoyed about it. It might be just like the pregnancy hormones right now. It also feels like, does she understand what triplets are? And also like I love that she's thinking ahead, but it's hard to like plan to that exact. How do you know you're going to get 3 embryos, Jojo?
Yeah.
Like you just don't know. And I feel like that was initially why I felt annoyed or maybe like confused and maybe like is she just trying to get attention right now and we say outlandish things. But then upon further thinking about this really took up too much space in my brain. I felt like, you know what, good for her for thinking about this at such a young age. And honestly, I wish more people would. So
Yeah.
my feelings on it really went from one end of the scale to the other. And I think as people, like it's so important to think ahead because you don't know what's going to happen. And I
Yeah.
feel like we are so grateful that we did freeze embryos because we both ended up using our frozen embryos because we planned
Right.
ahead a little bit. So that is my thought. I'm glad she's thinking ahead and I want to make it like a positive thing. And I feel like more people should plan ahead a little bit because it can save you heartbreak later on down the road.
100%. I think if you're like her and you've known since you were young that being a mother, being a parent is important to you, you do yourself a disservice by waiting and not doing the things that we've talked about, like checking your hormones and maybe putting eggs on ice if you have the resources to do it, or like looking into your company's insurance and seeing like, hey, do we cover anything? Or, all those things. And also like to your point, I like that she's already thinking about her partner and like
Yeah.
not picking somebody, like making it very clear up front, like this is important to me. I want to do this and I have a time frame I'd like to do it in because I do think a lot of people have a lot of heartbreak when they're not on the same page or they think, oh, this person might grow into the idea of liking to have a family or, you know, dating someone your age who isn't going to be ready for a really long time or maybe ever. Like, so I think that at 21, this is a pretty mature place to come at. And like at 21, I certainly was not thinking about this. I was in New York, like living my wild life.
Right.
So I actually think like good on her for having a plan. She says she already has a donor that's lined up. She's just kind of waiting to be patient, waiting a couple of years because she says she's not ready now. She says like 3 to 4 years she'll be ready. But that's why she wants someone who's older, who's like in 3 to 4 years they might be ready too. So I
Yeah,
like it.
I
And
do
I like that she
too.
talks about it. She's so firm in her stance. She has here, this is great too. And this kind of leads into our T number 2. She has the names picked out. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Freddie, Eddie, and Teddy.
You know what? You can name your children whatever you want.
You sure can.
So, yeah, anyways, I know she got a lot of hate on this, and I initially felt that way, and now I'm like, I'm so glad she's thinking about this, and more people should be thinking about this
I
because the more
agree.
you plan, especially for us, like we are such planners, I just feel like you're giving yourself the more chance, like, and like making those plans come to fruition. Like,
Totally.
I have so many, friends, or I hear stories all the time about like friends of friends, and they're in their late 30s and they want to be moms, and they're breaking up with their partners and they haven't frozen their eggs, and now they're all like freaking out a little bit. And that's like a very normal thing to feel. And a lot of them are like,
Yeah.
oh, whatever happens, happens. But it's like you can take control of your own life, and you can put contingency plans in place so that you can achieve what you want to achieve.
Right. Good on
So
her.
good on her.